pupils currently writing the Basic Education Certificate examination hangs in the balance tonight, with the West Africa Examinations Council warning it does not have the funds to mark and process the examination papers. 2 papers are already done, with at least 7 more to go. But WAEC reveals government has fallen short of releasing all the funds it needs. We are learning only 15% of the funds needed by WAEC has been released. We'll hear from WAEC shortly, but first, in the last few hours, John is learning of the arrest of at least 4 students by the police for allegedly engaging in exam malpractices. Head of Public Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, give the following details.
Yes, we've received a few reports from the Ashanti region where one individual was picked up where he was trying to approach the examination hall with some prepared material for the candidates. We've also picked somebody up from Tema West, that's Tema Central actually, where the lady had a tablet that had some information that she intended passing on to the candidates. In the Central region, Dunkonofin, to be specific, we've picked up 2 people who were answering the questions in the middle of the paper that they intended sending in to the candidates who were writing the exam here. Well, these are criminal cases according to our rules and regulations governing the conduct of the examination. And anybody who breaches any of these rules, what we do is we simply report you to the law enforcement agencies. They apply our rules and then they are charged. They are sent to court.
And you heard that John Kapi is the head of public affairs at WAEC. Well, the arrest is happening on the day when we heard a lot from authorities about the stringent measures they are implementing this year to prevent students from cheating in the exam hall. In the past, we've had instances where whole exam papers have had to be cancelled because of acts such as we're now hearing. I want to take it to the Ashanti region where the measures have been out and been enforced strictly. I want to bring in Nana Juma, who's been observing that for us tonight. Nana, you went to some of the centers. You spoke to some of the officials, including the NACA, the Curriculum Authority, and they were very certain that this year we shouldn't have the cases where we've had in the past where papers are cancelled because the measures will make it impossible for students to cheat. And we are seeing already that arrests are currently happening. What can you report in terms of what you saw at the examination centers?
So according to the NACA head, they have stringent measures in place to ensure that these exam papers do not leak. And these measures were adopted last year. It worked to perfection. So they believe that since they've added on these measures, it should be able to work this year as well. They say they have a system they call serialization of the question papers. And what they do is that the question papers are not the same for the students, even those sitting in the same exam room. So it will be difficult for students to cheat in the exam. And even by the measures that they've put in place, it will be very difficult for any syndicate interested in getting access to these question papers and leaking it to the students to be able to operate. So though he will not review the exact measures in place, he says they are very stringent and it will be very difficult for the exam to leak.
You agree with me, last year we couldn't experience those malpractices based upon the measures that were put in place. There were a whole lot of things, some of them we can't mention them, but among them is that serialization, that versions. So you can have 3 versions being operated on within one center, and so you are not sure which one your close neighbor is doing. And the serialization can be done even in the various centers. We one of the things that we realized that before even the results or the questions come, there is a cartel that will normally find a way of getting it, but because of the serialization, they couldn't do it. I mean, last year almost all the system went down right from the beginning, and we are doing that. Beyond this, there are other things which we will not be able to tell you in public. But by and large, we think that these measures have helped. Once we were able to succeed last year, we think that we can improve upon even that one this year.
And Nana, you've seen these measures in force.
Exactly. So when we went to the exams halls, we realized that some of the students, the questions are not the same per the serialization method that has been put in place. So that is what we observed today. And also the policemen and other invigilators were strict on the ground.
Thank you very much. And what we are seeing across the country, obviously, is a strict enforcement. I want to bring in spokesperson for WAEC, who joins us on the line right now. Kapi, I'm grateful for your time here on Top Story, joining us with thoughts on what is happening today across the country. John Kapi speaks for the West Africa Examinations Council, is the head of public affairs there. Also joining us from Parliament is the ranking on the Education Committee there, Peter Nochu, on the back of the funding challenges that WAEC is having to deal with tonight. John, let me start with you on the subject of the arrest you've made today alone. Is that an indication that the measures you put in place this time is working?
Thank you very much, Evans, for having me, and thank you. Good evening to your listeners. Yes, the measures we put in place are working because we have our monitors across the country, almost at every center in the country. And so I believe that, yes, the measures we put in place are working.
You told us at the last, when we checked with you the last time, at least 4 people have been arrested so far. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, so far it is still the 4. We are still gathering reports from our officers in the field, and probably by tomorrow morning we may have a larger number than we have right now.
And you're organizing these elections amidst some difficult financial circumstances. From what you've told us, you've only received 15% of what you need to complete the entire exam process, correct?
That's correct.
When you say the entire exam process, this will also include processing and marking of the papers that are currently being written by the students?
Yes, that is correct.
But I wonder, the budgeting process would have happened quite some time ago before now. I mean, was there a delay in that process?
No, there's no delay. WAEC always has a calendar of activities, and as I speak, we've already done our budget for 2024, which means that it's almost about a year before the examinations begin. And this budget we always communicate with the Ministry of Education, with the Ghana Education Service. Remember that the Director General of the Ghana Education Service is also the chairman of the WAEC board. So obviously, it won't be any delays from our part because we do these things about a year, almost a year, to the next examinations.
And have you had any clear feedback from government yet when the remainder of the amount will come through?
Well, for now, no, we haven't got any or received any information from them as to when the next tranche of payments will be made.
So when you say 15% is what you got, in real terms, how much exactly are you expecting now to come in before you can complete the process?
I do not have the figures right now, but what I can tell you is that so far for BECE, we've received just about 10.5 million Ghana cedis. And we need, so we have about 85% of the money we need. I don't have the actual figures in front of me right now as I speak with you.
And you say you need that so that you can mark and you can also process the papers once you're done. Is this unusual, though, that at the time that you were starting the exams, like you started exams, you don't have the full amount in? Is it the first time you're experiencing that, or this is something that happens in the past?
No, for the past year and 2 years, yes, we've experienced this. We've had to go back and forth. We are promised monies, and then we have to wait for the monies to be brought. Again, if you recall, we still have some arrears to pay as at about a couple of weeks ago, which means that last year a similar thing occurred. As I speak, we also have about 9.9 million citizens arrears for WASC 2022. So that tells you that this is not the first time it has happened.
So you actually have arrears that have still not been settled on top of what you're owed for this particular examinations.
That is correct.
So how have you been operating?
Well, we literally it's been hand to mouth. I mean, as and when funds are brought in, we look at areas that are urgent, and then we settle those ones and wait until we get another, tranche of payment from the government.
Please stay with me. Let me quickly bring in Peter Nochu, who is on the Education Committee. Mr. Nochu, come to your attention at the committee level. We are talking about the futures of 600,000 people here who are sitting today, hoping that they will get clarity quickly so they can move on with their lives. Now hearing there's a lot of uncertainty now whether those papers will be marked and processed.
Yeah, thank you very much, and Evans, and good evening to you. Yeah, a few weeks or a couple of weeks ago, I raised this issue of government's indebtedness to the West African Examinations Council in respect to the two examinations that they are to conduct this year. That is the BECE and then the WAEC. October last year, getting to November, before we went on recess in December, and the WAEC appeared before the committee with their budget. And by what figures they gave us, they expected to register about 445,536 public candidates. And each of them will approve 170 CDs per candidate. So that would have given them 97.1 million Ghana cedis to conduct the BECE this year. Now, as the gentleman said, they said they were given 10.5 million, leaving a balance of 86.6 million to be given to them. If this money is not given to them, they will find it very difficult to continue with the examination process. The examination, it is not only the writing of the papers. There are a lot of activities that must be engaged. Collation of a lot of things, information. Those who print the question papers, those who print the answer booklets for them. Then those who set the questions, the other things that they do. All these things will come out of the 97.1 million series that was approved by Parliament for them. Last year, we had to talk before 70 million was released to them. And this year, we had to talk so much again. They are still owing the WASE for 2022. So if money is not released early enough, I don't know how examiners will mark. Because if they work for you and you don't pay them, what moral courage will you have again to ask them to come and work for you? Now, if you look at that of even the WASE, which has also started with the practicals and orals, the public candidates will be about 340,747. And each candidate was to pay 381 cedis 24 pesos. That will give them about 163.9 million. So the two examinations, the government will have to give WAEC 261 million so that they can conduct the examination from the time of setting the questions, proofreading, everything, so that they can do it. So if you look at their budgets, you see that WAEC is not a profit-making organization. They are only to run even. But if money is not released to them on time, they find it very difficult to do their work. So they have to do some of the things on credit, like the printing of booklets and all those things. And investigations also show that it's the private candidates who pay full for the content examination that they use at times to prepare for the examination. So without the private candidates paying fully for the examination, it will be difficult for WAEC to conduct the examination. So I think government must be responsible enough to look at it that, if we don't pay WAEC or we don't release money to them in time, they will not be able to conduct the examinations. So government and the finance ministry should release money. These exams will end on Friday, and they must go in, mark quickly, release the results in time so that the academic year can begin early. So, Evans, these are the challenges WAEC is facing, and if government does not come in as quickly as possible, I don't think they can continue to do the remaining processes as leading to the release of the results.
I mean, John, the exams should wrap up on Friday. How soon after that do you hope to go straight into marking and processing the papers?
Marking is certainly not going to start immediately afterwards because we'll also be conducting the WAEC. We'll finish with the processing of the WAEC before we start. So it may take us about 2.5 months to start processing the marking and then the results. Yeah.
You say that you have to also sit for the WAEC. You have to supervise the WAEC to be done before you go into marking of the BECE?
Exactly. Yes, okay. That's what I said.
Okay, good. So what does that mean for the WAEC? Do you have the funds to print the papers and for the students to sit?
Well, again, for the WAEC, yes, we've been able to print. We are still in the process of printing some of the papers. We have already started with some of the practical papers. So, yes, we would be able to conduct the exam, but then the processes that will go on from there would require some further funds from the government.
And the ranking on the Education Committee talks about the fact that sometimes you're having to now print these papers on credit. Is that what is happening?
Well, yes, because we have to buy bond paper for printing. You have to buy some other printing stationery, and all of these cost money. So we have suppliers who have provided some goods, some items to us, and we are paying them in bits.
So you also owe your suppliers?
Absolutely, yes.
Are they fine still printing for you on credit? Or some are threatening to pull out?
It's the printing stationery. I mean, you have a lot of consumables at the printing press, and these we ask them to supply. We also have other items like answer booklets that we send. We have pencils that we give out to candidates. All of these are supplied by our suppliers, and these we pay for afterwards. So we still owe some of our suppliers a lot of money, yeah.
What about the examiners who supervise and mark the papers? You owe them too?
So for now, we've been able to clear the arrears that we owed. I think about a couple of weeks or about 3 weeks ago, we settled the arrears that we owed the examiners. So going into this year, again, if we don't get any more money, the same may repeat itself.
And I'm curious, when you had raised this with government, what has been the reaction, the response? Is it that money isn't there now, so wait?
Well, yeah, you probably would have a response like, we are working on it, you know. So it's not a case where you have somebody who owes you can compel them to give you whatever they owe you when you need it. You know, so you present your case and they tell you, all right, we'll attend to you. So as and when they attend to us, fine, we take it.
Okay. Peter Notri, you are on the committee level. Have you had any briefing? And I wonder what government has told you when you asked the questions. I know you raised it in Parliament. What were you told about why the funds have delayed?
Well, I can say that when I raised the issue, the only response I had from the minister was, we have released money to them. And when I found out it was 15 million, I said that 15 million cannot do anything. They're going to pay arrears to examiners that they owe. Now they have contracted suppliers and a lot of things. They have to create depots, transportation, and those things. The 15 million you have given them, they will use about 9 or 10 million to pay arrears. 40 million, how is it going to conduct these examinations? So the assurance they do, we are working on it. We are working on it. Before they finish the examination, money will be released to them. And that is the usual answer they give you.
But from what I were told earlier by John, it turns out to be that each time they are promised, they seem to get the money in the nick of time to mark, process, and release the results. So I guess between now and the time when they finish with the WAEC 2, the money would have come in?
Yeah, as for the committee, we will continue to talk on their behalf. I normally follow their activities. So we will be talking on their behalf to make sure that monies are released to them on time to enable them finish the remaining processes for the exams results to be released early enough. But if we just relax that, they are going to give them money, they may not do it. So we will continue to advocate for WAEC because it's an international organization and Ghana should not be seen as defaulting in responsibility towards the organization.
And you raised a very important point about the WAEC being an international organization. John, this is a West African examination, particularly the WAEC. Considering the challenges you're having, how are you there? How is it affecting your ability to supervise an exam that, of course, meets the standards you set, not only in Ghana, but the other WAEC countries?
Well, for now, this year, as we speak, it's only Ghana that is organizing the exam at this time. The other member countries have already finished with theirs because they've gone back to the April-May examination period. So as a result, they've done theirs already. So it's left with Ghana to complete theirs.
So it hasn't had any impact at all, these delays in the amounts and the funding on your ability to meet the standards that you've set across the sub-region?
Oh, no. As for the standards, we maintain them because we also have our experts who come in to do the moderating of questions for us. The difficulty we have now is, being able to pay as and when we engage our examiners, being able to pay as and when we engage invigilators, those are the things that we have difficulties with. But we still maintain all the standards. Everything is still done according to the rules set by WAEC International, yeah.
And by the way, we've tried to check with the Education Ministry on this. They're not available for comments right now. They've asked us to ask the GES. GES is running some checks to see if they can get some clarity on when exactly WAEC will receive the funds to ensure that they can actually go ahead and mark the papers and issue the results for the students currently sitting this exam today. And John, as far as the exams itself is concerned, we know in the past there's been challenges of exam leakage leading to cancellation of results. You put in place some measures this time to try and stop that from happening. And I see that my reporters are reporting that you have police officers even at the centers.
Yeah, we've always had police officers at the centers. That's not a new thing. But then on our own, at the point of printing, we've engaged the service of the National Investigative Bureau. They've been with us throughout the period. We have also independent monitors that we have engaged and who are at almost all the centers, let me say so, almost all the centers across the country, so that we'll be able to maintain some sanity. So on our part, we've done what we can do, but when it gets out there, we need everybody's contribution to ensure that we succeed in this exercise.
And in the past, the challenge have also been that sometimes the examiners, the invigilators themselves, conspire with the students. You've talked about at least 4 arrests today. Any of the people you've arrested member of the invigilating body?
So far, no. The reports that we've received do not indicate that. One person, posed as an invigilator, but upon interrogation, he confessed that he was not an invigilator, but then he attempted, sending some material to the candidates in the examination hall.
And has been arrested as a result of that.
Yeah, he's been arrested, yes.
And WAEC is pushing for full prosecution of these individuals, correct? If it's proving that indeed they had attempted to engage in a mock practice.
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Nochu, happy with the interventions that WAEC is rolling out to avert another leakage scandal?
Oh, yeah. Every year when we meet with WAEC, they give us assurance that the examination process will go through smoothly. They are doing their best to eliminate malpractices. And last year, the report we had was very encouraging. And we share in their efforts to make sure that we have a malpractices-free examination, even including the serialization of the questions and all those things. So we are happy with them, and they should not leave any stone unturned in fighting examination malpractices. They have the full support of the committee, and we will continue to dialogue with them so that we don't record malpractices as it used to be in the past. So they are doing very well, and they need encouragement. That's why government must always make sure that they receive whatever is due them to enable them deliver good examination conduct for us, so that our certificates and whatever certificates are issued are given the international recognition that they deserve and continue to be recognized.
Peter Nochu, thank you very much. And John Kapi speaks for WAEC tonight. If you're just joining us and your ward is part of the 600,000 writing the basic education certificate examination today, you've heard WAEC. You're having challenges with funding from government that is threatening the ability to mark and process those papers so they can issue the results for your wards. You're hoping the government will come clean and clear and clarify when the monies will come in for that to happen. And today, at least 4 people have also been arrested by police at various exam centers engaged allegedly in exam malpractice. We're yet to get clarity from the Education Ministry and the GES on when exactly the monies will be released to WAEC to complete this process that began today. Once we get some clarity on that, you can bet we'll bring that to you. This is Top Story.
I've got Bell back and I won't let go.
My name is Nanama McBrown. Many people think I get what I want anytime because I am popular. No, that is not true. It is because me and Kasano, I like the best, and when I find it, I stick to it. I have found Bell Pack Tea Roll, and I'm stuck with it. It is soft but not weak, strong but not hard. It is just perfect. Bell Pack Tea Roll is smooth and gentle on the skin. Same as Bell Pack Kitchen Towel. It cleans in one wipe. You can soak, squeeze, and clean again. One Bell Pack Kitchen Towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today and experience the perfect paper tissue. Say pocket tissue, table napkins, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Paper chow. Bell Pack is simply the best. Bell Pack, just perfect.
To be a Bell Pack distributor, call 055-11-44400. Another quality product from Bell Aqua.
Nothing feels so good like Bell Pack.
Good evening and welcome to News Night. In the next 60 minutes, Attorney General's office dismisses claims about intervening in the Cecilia Dapa missing $1 million cash scandal, ostensibly to cover up for the former minister.
We have a responsibility to look through the docket, review it, and advise them accordingly. It is not about any special interest. We think crime is crime. It matters not who is involved. Ghanaians should trust us. We are doing a genuine work because we know that as lawyers, we'll be judged by our peers based on the work that we do in this ministry.
Also tonight, keeper of the Saglemi Housing Project, Minority warns private developers as the Public Procurement Authority gives the green light for a private entity to be selected to help dispose of the abandoned housing project.
And that is why we have warned that any investor, any private investor that will show interest in buying the Saglemi housing project, the person should think twice because that project is not for sale. We must complete it with government money.
Also tonight on News Night, the MPP Elections Committee is tonight taking on presidential aspirants who are discrediting the party's voters register for the Super Delegates Congress. The party says such comments have the potential to cause disunity within the party.
We should be very mindful that we are going into an internal election, and after every competition there comes a cooperation, and we need that from them. Whatever we put out there is very, very useful to our forward march to breaking the E.
And it is endorsement galore as astute member of the MPP and Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Boche, and Verti Committee member Obi Anwa go all out for Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
Based on my knowledge of the party, yɛnyɛ ano baako na yɛnkɔto abanoma Dr. Bawumia.
Message amodi amayere say yenko yi Dr. Bawumia yensu ye ni muhamoda.
We get to hear from the camp also of Alan Chemanti and former Greek Minister Dr. Efria Akoto, who have also been garnering support from the Ashanti region. And just as the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair wraps up at the West Hills Mall, excitement is already building among vendors and patrons as they eagerly anticipate upcoming fairs in Tema, Takrady and Kumasi.
We look forward to Tema. I'm really excited to go to Tema. And Takrady, I can't wait to be in Takrady. The sea breeze, the environment, Takrady is the place to be. So see you in Takrady and Tema.
And in business, government extends deadline for exchange of domestic dollar bonds and cocoa bills by some 2 weeks.
And in sports, do not expect trophies in my first season. That's new coach Prosper Ogum as he cautioning fans of Kumasi Asante Kotoko ahead of his second stint at the club.
That's and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do all to join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. You're watching live on Twitter Spaces on Facebook. Don't forget to leave your comments there. We're also live on myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau.
And my name is Evans Mensah.
Many thanks for your company. In our very first story for tonight, the Attorney General's office did not intervene to cover up. That's the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tunyayeboah, dismissing claims about his outfit's intervention in the Cecilia Dapa missing $1 million cash scandal, ostensibly to cover up for the former sanitation minister. Recommendations from the AG, after analysing the docket submitted by the police, review that the theft occurred in October 2022, but the case was reported in June 2023 to the police. Well, Joy News has, however, cited court documents showing an initial attempt at prosecuting the main suspect at a juvenile court in 2022. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable has more.
The Attorney General's opinion on the docket revealed the case was reported in June 2023, despite the alleged theft taking place in October 2022. He noted that despite claims of a police complaint and arrest of one of the suspects in October 2022, there was no information at the Tesano police station supporting this arrest, complaint, or any investigations. Joy News has, however, cited court documents filed at the Juvenile and Family Court in Accra on 1st December 2022. Prosecutors curiously charged the domestic staff, who was then aged 17, with the offenses of unlawful entry and being on the premises for unlawful purposes. This is despite the fact that documents reveal the suspect was found in the minister's bedroom by her husband, Daniel Kufuor. Mr. Kufuor is said to have handed her over to the Tesano Dofsu unit, where he lodged the complaint on 6 October 2022. Cecilia Dapa, who had travelled, returned on 10th October and informed the police her 2 new kente cloths, uncountable number of women cloths, and specified amount of money, jewelries including gold chains, had been stolen. The juvenile was slapped with charges at the juvenile court but was later discharged and taken to the circuit court after bone age determination returned her age as between 18 and 21. Her lawyers, however, provided her Ghana card showing she was 17 years old, causing the court to discharge her, resulting in her rearrest and charges being filed at the juvenile court once again. This begs the question why this crucial information is lost in the Attorney General's opinion, which analyzes the docket and concludes no evidence of a report or investigation by the Tesano police was available on record. This is because the latest information shows that not only did the police investigate the matter, but they actually filed charges in courts. The question was put to Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tunyayeboah.
The docket that was submitted to us had nothing about a case pending in any juvenile. The only hint we had in that docket was that a report was made to the police at Tesano. And so in terms of a prosecution going on in the juvenile court or in the circuit court, we are not aware.
And for you being speaking to Alfred Tunyayeboah, who is a Deputy Attorney General, who is insisting they will be demanding answers from the police. But the main question has been, is the Attorney General engaged in a cover-up? This was his answer.
if there are other dockets. We need to have everything before we can make a holistic review of the matter. But as we have it now, we review only one docket. The docket which the police sent to us contained the statement of Madam Siliadapa in July, the brother in July, the husband in July, and the other accused persons also in July.
Now that you are learning that it was not contained in the dockets that you were giving, which you called for, I'm sure you called for everything that concerns this particular case. And if the police withheld information from you in terms of the fact that there was a leg that was in another court and that was not given to you, what happens?
Yes. Now that the police have our letter, they may choose to submit that docket to us because we raise issues about the testimonial matter. In their response, they may on their own submit that docket to us. But if they do not do that, definitely within the week, we'll write to them for that docket because we need to look at that docket also.
But how is it that you had informed the police that if a matter or a case comes to them that goes beyond the threshold of 500,000, it should come to the Attorney General? I'm just seeing it on page 5 of this particular document, and I'm wondering, how is it that the police will ignore your directive?
We cannot explain because we've been receiving a lot of petitions from accused persons and complainants and realized that most of those petitions had issues with money. Some of them ran into the millions of Ghana cedis. So to avoid any delays and to avoid any mistrust, we then wrote to the police asking them if there is any matter above 500,000 Ghana cedis, they must submit such a docket to us for our review and advice to avoid receiving a lot of petitions from accused persons and then complainants.
But are you surprised that this particular directive was ignored?
We are surprised.
And beyond being surprised, what happens?
Now that we've written to them, we've also alerted them about the earlier letter we sent to them, it is our hope that they will comply with the letter that we sent to them in April this year.
What will be your own assessment of the work that has been done by the police when it comes to this matter so far?
So far, the police have done some work, but there are some areas that they do not investigate into. And we think that those areas may have to be looked at.
Really, there are concerns about why this particular interest of the AG in this matter. You have rightly said that there have been a lot of complaints. This is not the first time the police is dealing with a matter that is beyond this particular threshold. But it appears that you're particularly interested in this matter because it involves Cecilia Dapa and the public uproar. It appears you are coming to the rescue of Cecilia Dapa.
Far from that.
And forcing things down the throat of the police and not allowing them to do their investigation.
Far from that. The Attorney General, per our Constitution, is the person responsible for the initiation and conduct of all criminal cases in Ghana. Within the same Constitution, Article 88(4), he reserves the right to give other institutions or other agencies authorization to prosecute on his behalf. So all the investigations that the police have been doing, they do so on behalf of the Attorney General. And now the Attorney General, if you go to court throughout the country, you meet hundreds of police officers prosecuting cases in court. They do so on behalf of the Attorney General. And when a matter comes up, there are 3 ways that the Attorney General may be seized with that particular matter or may have that docket in his possession. 1, when the police receives a complaint and takes the statement of the complainant as well as the accused persons, the complainant or the accused person has the right to petition the Attorney General for his intervention.
Well, in this case, was there a petition? Did Cecilia Dapa petition the Attorney General?
I'll be there very soon.
Okay.
That's the first one. The second one is where the police on their own, looking at the nature of the case, submits the docket to the Attorney General. The third one is where the Attorney General himself, having heard of a particular matter, may write to the police and call for the docket. In this particular case, the police so much, that's what I have to say, the police on their own submitted the docket to the Attorney General for our review and advice. And having submitted the docket to us for our review and our advice, we have a responsibility to look through the docket, review it, and advise them accordingly. So this is exactly what we did in this particular case. Okay. It is not about any special interest. We think crime is crime. It matters not who is involved. I speaking, if I decide to engage in a criminal activity, The fact that I'm a deputy attorney general does not mean that I should absolve of that crime. I must be made to go through the full rigors of the law. Ghanaians should trust us. We are doing a genuine work because we know that as lawyers, we'll be judged by our peers based on the work that we do in this ministry. And that's what we are doing. We have to do the right thing.
So that's the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayebwa. Let me bring in Mary Awilana Ada with the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. So the last time you interacted with Evans, your key question was, whose report should we believe? Now, listening to the Deputy Attorney General and what you've heard so far, are you close to believing any account? Hello, Mary. It does appear we don't have Mary Ada on the phone. But
good evening to your cherished listeners. Unfortunately, I believe I'm beginning to even become confused, and I suspect the people of Ghana would also be very confused from the accounts that are currently being put out there for us. I suspect that in this case, the way things are going, if the Attorney General is telling us that they have a threshold within which they have agreed with the police to ensure that they have some sanity in their investigations, and this threshold is 500. In this case, we have amounts that exceed $1 million. Why is it that the police didn't submit all the dockets to the Attorney General? I believe all these dockets are in connection with the stealing case. And so why were they all not submitted to the AG's office if they indeed have a standing agreement that when it is within a certain threshold, then we should be seeing them forwarding such to the Attorney General for advice? The other question we would be asking then is, does that mean that the authorization given to the institutions of state who investigate and prosecute, and in this case, the Article 884 institutions, which the police service is part of, is there anywhere in the Constitution which says that when they are given the powers, they should be given a certain threshold within which they operate? I believe the Attorney General, in his issuance of the letter last week, did some two things which we commended that were good. That the investigation should be expanded, and then also the investigation should be segregated, or the issue should be segregated to ensure that the cases are decoupled, or the various instances where the monies were stolen were decoupled. And we believe that was very good. But in this case, the way things are happening, I strongly would suggest that the way things are going, the Attorney General's office would have to come again. Now we have doubts about what is happening. If it is Mary who is involved in this case, the Deputy Attorney General says if he is involved in any suspected crime, he would have to be investigated. Can we then allow this process to go on as it should be, as they told all of us that the police should extend this? Again, I say that other institutions also have their mandate to do this. Can we then also look at how we can allow institutions such as the SHRAG and OSP to expand this investigation beyond these limited frontiers to see if there is more to this than we are currently looking at? Because it's becoming very worrying that the Deputy Attorney General is leaving most of his work to engage in this advocacy, which is confusing the people of Ghana more and more. Perhaps maybe for lawyers they would understand better, but for those of us who are looking at the issues as black and white and see it as it is, we are becoming more confused. We are not saying that anybody is doing anything wrong, but what we are saying is that the impression is not good, and we should be careful not to be sending the wrong message that we are trying to curtail certain processes.
Well, we'll also hearing from the police help clear any doubts in terms of the confusion that you talk about.
I believe so, because at this point, the police is called, as he said, He says he doesn't know why they didn't bring the other dockets. And so the big question here then is, what is the police keeping? Because we know for a fact that the police received a complaint last year. This case happened last year. The police indicated they were doing investigations from last year. And we all hear that there was no complaint or official complaint from the person whom we are talking about. And yet there was an investigation. Are the police saying that some people are above the law? On what grounds are they operating on this? How did the investigation get finished and then they went on to court with these girls and others who were seen to be culpable? We all need to hear from the police, perhaps chronicling why the reasons why some of the things happened the way they happened. If they are within their SOPs, and if they are not, why they allowed some things to happen. And if they went on their own volition, sending information to the AG's office, then why is it that all the facts of the matter, or all the other dockets were not added for the advice they wanted?
Well, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. That's Mary Awilana Ada with the Ghana Integrity Initiative.
It's so live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the NDC minority in Parliament, MFR, they're warning tonight that it could take more than 21 years for all the Agenda 111 hospitals to be completed if the current funding arrangement is maintained. Each of the district hospitals is estimated to cost 17.5 million cedis. But the deputy ranking member on the health committee and MP for NAPDAM, Dr. Mark Nawani, says government is simply not committed to the project given its lackadaisical attitude.
Government initiated the Agenda 111 initiative to address infrastructure deficiencies in the health sector and contribute to the improvement of health outcomes in the country by ensuring increased access to quality health services. And he also quoted an amount of 189.34 million being the amount that has been spent so far on the Agenda 111. If we recall, about 2 years ago when the government started this Agenda 111, initially they promised to finish in a year, then 1.5 years, and now we don't know when they are going to finish. And with this allocation, it means that out of the 100 million that was initially allocated to it, they've added only 89.34 million in the past year. And if you know the estimated cost of each of the projects, and that is 17.5 million Ghana cedis per one. That is according to the 2018 budgets, or 2020 budgets, or 2021 budgets. According to 2021 budget, each should cost about 17.5 million. And you total the estimate for 101, then we're talking about 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. And with this level of allocation, it means that we're going to take 21 years to complete the Agenda 111 projects. And so that is not good enough.
Well, so he has concerns about the future NDC government being saddled with the responsibility of completing such uncompleted projects with no funding available. We'll get to them shortly on the phone lines. Dr. Mark Nawani, Deputy Ranking Member on the Health Committee, joins us on the phone. We'll also be joined by Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare. But part of the IMF deal signed on by government made some changes to the original plan of government, especially the timelines. My colleague Kofi Eje of our research desk joins me in studio with details of what we are learning from that. What do we know, Kofi?
Well, indeed, the IMF document says government's flagship programs, including One Village, One Dam, One District, One Factory, and others, including the Agenda 111, will be reviewed and streamlined. For instance, Agenda 111 will be reprogrammed to be completed over 5 years from 2022 to 2027. In line with budget allocation to health infrastructure. And according to the 2023 mid-year budget review, as at May 2023, total payments under the program stood at $189.34 million, with 83 active project sites in all 16 regions of the country.
Okay, thank you very much, Kofi. Let me first bring in the Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare Evans. We also have Dr. Ket Nawani also on the phone.
I mean, Dr. Nsiasare, I noticed in the budget that was read last week in the media budget review, the Finance Minister told us that so far, as of May, you spent just a little over $189 million on the project, with 87 active project sites in all 16 regions of this country currently complete. The concern is that where we are with the economic crisis, you wouldn't simply not have the funds to complete the original plan of a district hospital in all 111 districts that you have put aside for this.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers. Who is saying that? I don't understand the whole issue. Because recently, I'm sure that we were all part of the press conference that we held in Trede. I think on the 17th or so of June, when we went around, we show pictures of what we are doing. And you see, most of the sites are not too far from where you are. If you go to Sotium, you go and see contractors there actively working. The honorable member who spoke, I'm sure the region he comes from, maybe there's one or two, at least 3. If he's from Upper West or Upper East, there are about 7 of them there. So you should go to the site and see the work going on. So we are all in Ghana. We live to see if it will take 21 years, as he's saying. But so far as we are concerned, the construction, at least of the 83 sites, are actively at different stages of construction. And so far, you can ask any contractor who is working if his certificate has been delayed or if the certificates have not, which they brought, have not been paid. So far as we are concerned, the work is ongoing, and we are praying that we go according to the schedule that we are doing.
Let's talk
but
about
definitely it's not 21 years. To know I don't know where he got his theory from.
So how many years would it take now? We saw a revision in the IMF program. How many years are you now projecting it to take to complete?
We are hoping that by the end of the year, some of them will be completed and put to use by the first quarter of next year, and then we continue quarterly to roll them out. At least the 83 which are started, they are different stages of construction. And you see, you don't need to even ask us these questions. Sometimes you have to go to the site, ask for permission, go to the site, ask permission from the supervising consultants, and they will allow you to go there, and you go and see it yourself, take the pictures and show to Ghanaians. That's what I expect the media to be doing.
So we expect from what you've told the IMF that you would complete all 111 projects by 2027. You're sticking to that?
We have, you see, the Agenda 111 is 111 hospitals. There are 7 of them which are regional hospitals. And we've been saying every now and then that the regional hospitals are going through processes of external funding. And that one has not completed yet. But the other hospitals which have started, at least 83 of them have different stages of construction. And the other 20 out of the 2 regional psychiatric hospitals or zonal psychiatric hospitals and 101 district hospitals are also at different stages of clearing and making sure that we also get them to work. So the contractors are all ready to go to those sites. The sites which are working very well. And so far, so good. We haven't had any problem whatsoever with funding for contractors.
I mean, keeping them honest, I mean, initially when this was first mooted, it was supposed to have been done within the tenure of the president. That is not happening anymore, and you've considered that in your conversations with the IMF.
Why do you know that it's not happening anymore?
Well, because I see...
We've said it over, and the president has said it. All the ones which have started, he wants to commission it during his tenure of office.
Yeah, but I see the specifics.
And it will happen.
I see the specifics.
We are in this country, so just be patient, have patience, and wait and see Agenda 111 projects being commissioned in this country.
I'm just referring to the details you agreed with the IMF, in that you agreed to revise the completion date to 2027. And it's hard there in black and white.
Some of them, and I've given an example.
Yeah.
Regional hospitals have now started going through the processes of procurement. But if you have a hospital which have been roofed, which are being plastered, wiring has been done, the floor work is being done, why should you complete the hospital in 2027?
Let me bring in Mr. Nawani, who is the deputy ranking member on the health committee, who raised this matter. Mr. Nawani, if you look at the specifics, so far, according to the media budget review, a total of $189 million has so far been spent on the projects, 83 of them. I mean, this doesn't indicate, as you complain, that a government that is not committed to a project when they've spent $189 million on it so far.
So you go to the site and see the amount of work which has been done this site. I think you see that it is value for money, whatever we are doing there. It's not maybe getting about $1 billion and nothing is done. But if you get this amount of money so far spent, and you go and see the amount of work which has been done at the
Dr. Sasser, actually, that question was to Mr. Nawani, Mark Kurt Nawani, who is on with me. Mr. Nawani, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, Doc. Tell him that he should go to his region and find out the hospitals which are ongoing.
Dr. Sasser, please stay with me. I want to bring in Mr. Nawani now, who is joining us. Mr. Nawani, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. You have alleged that the government hasn't shown enough commitment to the project and that the project will take a long time to complete, 21 years, etc. But you look at the facts. They've spent $189 million on the project so far. Definitely that shows commitment.
Yeah. Good evening to your listeners. We had $100 million as seed money that was taken from the COVID funds. And after that, we have only, within a year or two, we have only added $89.34 million to the amount that has been spent, bringing the total to 189. And what I'm saying is this: the estimated cost of each project, as stated in the 2018 budget, is $17.5 million. And so if you take around 100 and over projects that are supposed to be worked on, we are talking about a total amount of $1.9 billion. And if you divide that by the 17.5, it means that we are talking of around for each project is 17.5. You multiply by the over 100 projects, and you get a 1.9. Now you divide by a year, they have already spent 89.34. And you get that to be, they need to spend 89.34 for 21 times or more before they can finish the project. That is the issue. Now he's talking of going to the field. Yeah, we went to the field in January. And we went to Kwabnakwa, we went to Adeso, and currently in my own NAPDAM, the situation is nothing to write home about. He's talking of those areas that the block work have done. Please, we have all been building. We have all been building. Let us just be frank with ourselves. Block work is not a hospital. And that is why we agree with that cost of $17.5 million per each hospital.
Yeah, you went round in January. I mean,
yeah. We went round in January.
A couple of months back.
We went to Adeso. We went to this thing. So looking at the amount that they claim they have so far released for the project, and he is only referring to block work in some areas. And I'm telling you that, look, we have all been building. Block work is nothing. They can give whatever estimate they want that they've done this percentage. But block work is far away.
Well, we've done some checking ourselves. Yes, not all of them is on schedule, but there are some indeed that prove that a lot of work has gone in close to completion. You are a ranking on the committee. You have the authority to demand an audit so you can ensure that you're getting value for money for the $189 million that government says they spent so far, if indeed you believe that what money they claim they spent doesn't match what you see on the ground. Is it something that you're going to push for, at least at the committee level?
Yes. First and foremost, the amount of cash that is allocated for the project per year is woefully inadequate. We need to know what is happening, because as against the promises that they will finish in a year, they will finish in 2 years. They will finish before they leave office. And another document that they came with to our committee, they claimed less than 30% of it will be completed by 2027 or 28. One document of that sort, who tells us that they are not committed.
Well, thank you very much, sir. That is Mr. Nawani, who is a deputy ranking on the Health Committee in Parliament. Earlier, you had the government, the presidential advisor on health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasari. Time for business now, and George is joining us with the very latest. When we return, we'll tell you about the Joy Habitat Fair, the Joy Ecobank Habitat Fair, which went on over the weekend. It was a fantastic exhibition of everything that had to do with building. The second clinic of the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair will bring you the wrap, and then we'll look ahead to Tema, Takrade, and Kumasi. And then we also have Saglame for you. Hello, George.
The discounts that were available.
Oh, amazing. Those Super Lock stuff, for example, was given 40% off.
And Emifa tells me she's doing some shopping for her new place, at East Legon.
See how Evans laughed at
Oh,
you.
yeah, because I was hoping you would talk about it, because it's really a mansion.
Yeah. And it's at East Legon,
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. Even at this stage, I want to live in there. It's better than my completed house. Even at this stage of this one is not. It's not 80%. It's
it's almost through.
Yeah.
The whole psychological trick is that
it takes 21 years.
Respond by saying I
21 days
so that it comes across as if you haven't put up anything.
Yeah.
But great job, MFA.
Thank you.
Okay. Well,
happy to know you.
Coming up in business, government extends deadline for the exchange of domestic dollar bonds and cocoa bills by some 2 weeks, and 6 commercial banks out of 23 still recorded profits for last year, despite the domestic debt exchange program shocks on the industry. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Allianz Life and Ghana Pay.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UC BECE Cape Coast and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209 or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Luxurious, affordable living is your right, and no one understands it better than BOT Properties. BOT Properties specializes in modern residential buildings and commercial office spaces. Our properties include the Equator, a 12-story made up of over 100 apartments near Accra Mall. Other Equator courts, we offer you the deluxe living experience with our top-of-the-range homes, high-quality homes built with style and precision to suit your lifestyle. The Equator Courts is a gated community with 2-story, 4-bedroom detached houses at Ogbojo, East Legon, near American House. Our office complexes include Zion House, Shiashi, East Legon, Zion House, Sofa Line Interchange, Kumasi. Our offices and apartments are for both rental and outright purchases at affordable prices and with flexible payment terms. Kindly contact us on 0257 960 919 or visit botproperties.com. BOT Properties, the new meaning of affordable luxury.
Do you know Flamingo Paint has superior properties than any other paint brand on the market? Listen, when you take one bucket of Flamingo Paint, it's equal to several buckets of any paint brand on the market. So, Flamingo has superior hiding properties, superior coverage, it means it covers, and superior durability. Flamingo Paint, superior hiding. Flamingo Paint, superior coverage. Flamingo Paint, superior durability. Flamingo Paint, simply superior. No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex Tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex Tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex Tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, stress-free. Syntex Tank, reliable. Syntex Tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough.
Whether I'm passing by the food market, visiting the salon, or filling up my tank for a spontaneous adventure with old friends in a new city, when asked, cash or card, it's always card for me. I switched from cash to card for all my payments with MasterCard. Now I get to do what I enjoy with ease.
Switch from cash to card for all your payments with MasterCard. MasterCard, the secure and convenient way to pay.
I'm afraid! Yeah! Media Sambisanda Moa. It's your Ratiano, Moo, Panet, Vietnam, Podompe, Maniacono. Eh, Quabna. No, Moo wants me to be just my Marina there. And the crow, corporate Miriam and Podompe, so you super-excellent Eba. I didn't abandon the Braille. Who see it in a mobile, some man are holding it. Sir, I need not could you soon use super-excellent Chaco. Never dear, a mouse, and we are creating fit of that. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Hey, Kojo, sir. Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Chaco. A baby, you're gonna natural.
FDIJ Jadion Katuyatu.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government has announced that it has extended the deadline for the exchange of the domestic dollar bonds and cocoa bills. The process, which should have ended last Thursday, is now expected to conclude on August 18, 2023. There is more in this report.
The Finance Ministry in the statement maintained that the extension of the domestic dollar bonds was in response to feedback from eligible bondholders for more time to secure internal approvals to participate in the offer. However, CalBank, which is leading the cocoa bills offer, was silent on the reasons for the extension. Settlement for the domestic dollar bonds will now be done on the 21st of August 2023. while the cocoa bill settlement will be done on the 25th of August 2023. Government is hoping to restructure almost 20 billion cedis worth of bonds when you put the value of these two papers together. This exercise is very important in securing the next tranche of funds from the IMF for this year.
And that is a Business Desk report. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has described the push for a sacking by President Akufo-Addo as not out of place, but he maintained that looking at the challenges that the economy had gone through during that time, any finance minister in that position would have been asked to step aside. But speaking on GTV's current affairs program Talking Point, the minister maintains that he is committed to stabilizing the economy to deal with all these concerns.
In a democracy, truly, Doc, I think that is warranted. How do you give free speech for everyone to really express themselves in one way or the other? Those were difficult periods, and I think everybody had the freedom to express what they want. But I think for me, it went through even a period of censure in which Parliament then, I guess, voted against it. But more importantly, you were in a situation where you have described it, and I said so, battered and broken. And do you leave the ship at that time? And given the urgency of ensuring that the program, the IMF program, gets through so that we can build confidence, when do you make such a decision? Besides, you rarely serve at the president's pleasure. And it's up to him to decide on that. So it was a period in which one had to keep one's eye on the ball, work with the team at the ministry, be really resolute in where you want to go, so that when we then successfully, within 5 months, got a staff level agreement, we brought some confidence, some stability, and then pushed on, Doc, in record time.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta speaking on GTV's current affairs program, Talking Point. Finance Ministry has expressed optimism that its emergency expenditure management guidelines and audit recommendations document would aid and help curbing financial infractions within the public sector. Deputy Minister of Finance Kuku, that is, disclosed this at official launch of the emergency expenditure management guidelines recommendations in Accra.
We look forward to Tema. I'm really excited.
This occasion forms a crucial step towards providing a means of making government more accountable to the good people of Ghana, so we can be more confident about the future of our country and the management of public resources. The launch of the Emergency Expenditure Management Guidelines and the Audit Recommendations Implementation and Follow-up Instructions for public institutions are designed to provide a clear, transparent framework for how we respond to crisis and uphold fiscal discipline in our public emergencies, as well as improve public accountability.
And that is the Deputy Minister of Finance, John Kumar. 6 commercial banks in the country still ended last year posting some profits. This is despite the negative impact of the domestic debt exchange program on the banking industry. There is more in this report.
These analyses were captured in the PricewaterhouseCoopers 2022 Ghana Banking Survey report. The banks are GT Bank, United Bank for Africa, Societe Generale, First Atlantic Bank, FPN Bank, and Bank of Africa. These are some of the banks that managed to withstand the shocks of the domestic debt exchange program by posting profit before tax in the industry. A careful analysis of the data released by PricewaterhouseCoopers showed that all the Tier 1 banks in the country recorded a loss. This could be linked to their heavy exposure in government bonds. In other categories, as reviewed by PricewaterhouseCoopers, EcoBank emerged as the number 1 bank in the country with the highest industry deposits, commanding about 13.58%, followed by GCB Bank with 10.87%. EcoBank also had the highest of industry loans to businesses and individuals with 14.7% of market share. There are projections that the banks will indeed pick up strongly in 2023 as first and second quarter earnings have already shown. However, others are of the view that it is early days yet, as one may have to wait for the full year numbers to see whether things have improved for the commercial banks in the country.
And that is a Business Desk report. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you are an investor in shares of MTN Ghana, you lost a peso today and it's now worth 1 Ghana cedi, 50 pesos. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. In terms of the share price of MTN Ghana, now worth 1 Ghana cedi, 54 pesos on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And that's all for Business on Newsnight.
And George, thank you very much. Now, the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fairs concluded with excitement at the West Hills Mall on Sunday. Now, but vendors are already looking forward to 3 additional mini fairs in Tema, Takoradi, and Kumasi. The General Manager for Sales and Customer Service at Multimedia Group Limited, David Maxfuga, revealed at the close of the exhibition that the 3 new mini fairs scheduled for August to October will provide vendors and patrons with opportunities to expand their customer base before the main event in November.
Sponsored by EcoBank and Cities and Habitat, vendors participating in the 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair say the second mini clinic ranks among the most successful in terms of attendance.
This fair has given us so much exposure because not many people knew of Blue Rose, but due to this fair, we've had a lot of people coming to know Blue Rose Limited, the properties we have available for sale, where our sites are located, and then our contact numbers.
I must say, we coming to the West Hills Mall has been a great experience, and it's good. We also thought we should also get close to our people, get to know what their experiences have been, and then what we look forward to doing for them in the coming days or coming years. So I must say we are impressed. I'm impressed with the participation or with the numbers so far.
For them, the exposure the fair offers is unparalleled.
I think, well, first of all, we joined Joy FM because we believe them to be an exceptional company in terms of media promotion. And the team that we have met over the last 9 months or so have been very helpful in advising us how best to hit our target markets. So it's not just about exposure, it's about targeted exposure. And we now have a greater sense of how to put our name out there in a way that people will want to buy from us. They understand that we provide high quality and good value for money, and that's why I think multimedia have helped us to promote.
Head of Marketing at the Multimedia Group Limited, David Maxfuga, said, based on the success talked at the 2 mini clinics, management of Joy News have decided to extend the fair to other parts of the country.
The good thing is that this year we want to give it a national appeal. And so based on the success of the 2 mini clinics or 2 mini fairs, the Achimota one and this one, we have decided to expand it. And so we'll go and do one in Tema, end of August or first week in September. And then we'll do the second one in Takoradi, and then we'll come back in November for the grand one. We are going to be in Kumasi in October, and then we'll come back to Accra for the grand one in November.
Reacting to these, vendors and patrons believe the decision is in the right direction.
It will be interesting. I think this will be our first time in Tema and Takoradi. Tema is developing very fast, so that is the place to be. So we look forward to Tema. I'm really excited to go to Tema. And Takoradi, I can't wait to be in Takoradi. The sea breeze, the environment, Takoradi is the place to be. So see you in Takoradi and Tema.
I think it's very exciting. I mean, for the past few years that we've been here, it's always been centered in Accra, and people traveling all the way from Tema, she said, you get calls from people from other regions. So we taking the Habitat Fair there, I think is an amazing thing.
Maxfuga urged prospective vendors to grab the opportunity.
There's only one stop shop for everything housing, and that is the Joy News Habitat Fair. And so if you're dreaming of to own a home, whether you're dreaming of acquiring a property, whatever you are thinking of, as long as it is so far as it has to do with home ownership, the place to be is the Joy News Habitat Fair. So make a date with us. From next week, we'll be communicating the details. We'll be in Tema, we'll be in Kumasi, we'll be in Takoradi, and we'll be back here in Accra for the big one.
Carlos Caloni reporting for Joy News from West Hills Mall.
And we're looking forward to all that. Ms. Bao, too, as well. He wants to stop renting. True?
Yeah,
True. I was there on Saturday. It was fun. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I look forward to living in one of those rent to own houses.
Yeah,
and that's one of the ones that I know you're looking for as well.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll get there. Well, let's do some sports now.
What's your problem? Talk to me, Evans.
Let's do some sports now. And it's Kumasi Asante Kotoko who are in the news because they have unveiled their new coach, Dr. Prosper Nata Ogum. And, of course, he'll be taking charge of the 2023-24 season. Well, his unveiling was done at the Barbara Sports Stadium earlier today. And while addressing the media, he cautioned the fans against expecting a trophy this season because, according to him, his first year will emphasize on putting together a very formidable team that can compete at all levels.
I am overly excited. I'm so overwhelmed. I think there is nothing in my life, probably apart from the day I got married, that can be compared to this moment. This is a club that we don't support, but we worship. The target, let me use the backroom approach. For the target, I think definitely you can't coach Kumasi Asante Kotoko and you will not be thinking of winning trophies. But then what this time around the approach is going to be is the first year is going to be used to put the team together. We need to put together a very formidable team, a very respectable team that can compete on the local and international front.
Yeah, so that's Prosper Nata Ogum, who's coming in for his second stint. He was there at the club during the 2021-22 season where he won the Ghana Premier League title for them. Well, to the Women's World Cup now, Evans, and two of the three African teams that advanced from the group stage have exited the tournament. Nigeria lost to England 4-2 on penalties, while South Africa lost 2-0 to the Netherlands. All hopes are now on Morocco, who play France tomorrow. But just fun fact for you, Evans, the three teams actually advanced to the round of 16. Now, if it happens that Morocco is unable to defeat France and they go home, Morocco, South Africa and Nigerian players, all the players, are going to go home with $90,000. They'll be paid directly by FIFA, $90,000, and that's for their participation in the World Cup. What was interesting was that FIFA wanted to pay to the association, but Nigerian players said, no.
Pay to players directly. And maybe you mentioned the amount. Mefa just whispered to me that she wants to start training so that the next World Cup she'll be fit enough to join the Black Queens in the tournament. Yeah.
90,000.
Yeah, $90,000 directly.
How many games?
Yeah, for two. They play 4 games. 4 games.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 games.
Okay.
How many news lines have you read in your life?
Yeah, so that's it for sports. It's brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal and Taco Pepsodent. Every smile matters.
And it's time for your election headquarters. And amidst rumors and media commentaries, the Elections Committee of the governing New Patriotic Party has refuted claims of flaws in the voters' register for the upcoming Special Delegates Congress that's scheduled for August 26. We're getting ready for that. But recent media reports, we know, hinted at possible anomalies in the register, sparking concerns from the camp of some aspirant. We can hear from the Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed.
People are complaining about that the register has some people that are not supposed to be there. And those issues that have been raised are issues that have been brought to the attention of the committee. And we did indicate to all aspirants and their representatives to remain true to the course of the party in dealing with issues internally. We don't belong to anybody. We belong to the New Patriotic Party. The national leadership will organize a free and fair elections. And we will demonstrate it throughout all the process. All of us know in everything that we have, the output, demonstrate what the input is, the processes that leads to that and the output that it comes with. And we are very sure and clear in our mind that we will have listening ear to everybody.
Well, MFA Pao, you know that we're building up to the 26th of August, and some of the aspirants are getting a lot of endorsements. Baumia, in the last 24 hours, has pulled in at least 2 major endorsements from the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Boche. Also, a member on the Flag Bearer Vetting Committee, Obi Amwa, is the latest to also endorse the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. According to them, the Vice President is the only aspirant that holds the future of the party when it comes to the ability to break the 8.
NPP is going to win 2024. And like what we always do,
we have to work hard to win the 2024 general elections. However, we need someone who can make this possible to lead us. Based on my knowledge and experiences in the party, I have come to conclude that Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is the right person who holds the future of this party. So please, I will urge all of you to come out together to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. I am convinced that the message from the grassroots is for us to go and vote for Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
26th August,
will not disappoint you. On 26th August, it will not be only the people of Ekuapin South that will vote for Baumia, but the whole Ghana.
He's a positive man. Emotional intelligence. Nibu onkasa.
He's a very positive man with high level of emotional intelligence and very competent to lead the party.
He is highly competent.
Well, in the Ashanti region, so this is in the eastern region, in the Ashanti region, Alan Chemante is also meeting delegates. And guess what? He's been to his hometown, Ejisu, and the paramount chief there, Nana Afrane Okese IV, threw a challenge to detractors as he vehemently assured that Alan Chemante will become the next flag bearer of the MPP.
Your presence here means you have come home. The ancestors are solidly behind you. Do not fear, because our prayers are with you. You shall win the elections. Even in the spiritual realm, you've won already, so do not be afraid at all. I urge all of you to stand by him and support him for these elections. He has already won. He shall emerge victorious.
And that's the endorsement galore. We've also been hearing from Akoche Fiye on some Ashanti founding fathers also endorsing him.
Well, later tonight we have a conversation on the crisis happening in Niger, but also across the SAP region when it comes to democracy. And today we're hearing from the former chairman of the National Peace Council, who is warning ECOWAS leaders not to use fire to extinguish burning flames. And he's been warning on the back of the expiration of that ultimatum to military leaders in Niger. West African leaders have told them that they will be forced to use force to reinstate the elected government. ECOWAS have threatened to use the military force on the back of that Niger coup d'etat. Well, tonight we are looking at that. Democracy in crisis, impact of military coups in West Africa. We have an international expert panel. Dr. Alex Vines is Research Director, Africa Program at Chatham House, will join us from the UK. We also have Oluwale Ojayole, who is the Regional Organized Crime Observatory Director at the Institute for Security Studies. And then we have Ambassador Dr. Abdel Fattah Musa, who is the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security at ECOWAS, all joining us to look at the situation in the West African
That's at
region.
9 p.m. on the
9
Joy
p.m.
News channel, also on all our social media platforms and myjoyonline.com with Evans Mensah. I am MF Apau.
My name is Evans Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.